Right, here in LA, doing my first composer walk that isn't in my own backyard in Edinburgh. So I'm a little bit nervous, and I know that there are more film and TV composers here in LA than there are in Edinburgh, so it's going to be interesting to see what the turnout is like. Right, suitably unattired like a local. Here we go. Right, it's got a thing for Miriam. You get to meet Miriam as well if you haven't already. She's going to have camera B. Hey, how you doing?
Hello.
How's it going?
So well. How are you?
Very good indeed.
You brought all the things. So we have about 166 RSVPs, and I keep getting emails from people saying, hey, is it okay if I bring a friend? I didn't, they didn't know they could come too, and it's like, it was open to everyone and anyone, so yeah. A lot
Pretty
more.
cool.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how many actually show up. It is LA after all.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So we're here in Griffith Park, just about to go on this hike. I can see there's quite a lot of people who have turned up already. But I just wanted to introduce you to someone, a gentleman called Stephen, who is doing amazing things. Stephen, thanks for meeting me here today.
Smile.
So can you talk to me about this amazing, it's a charity that you've set up, is that correct? Or a foundation?
Yeah, it's a foundation. I'm Stephen Letness. I'm the executive director of a nonprofit in the United States called Able Artist Foundation. Mm-hmm. And it's a nonprofit for artists with disabilities. And right now, specifically, it's for musicians with disabilities, composers, whatever kind of music you do. If you have a disability, you can, and you receive SSI, SSDI, or your country's equivalent. So, the UK, we're in Canada, Australia, the UK, and 13 other countries right now. So what you can do is you can actually come to our site and you can register with us. We verify that you have a disability, and then once you are approved, and it's free, it's private, then you can receive 50% discounts from all of our corporate partners. And we have 24 partners, namely Spitfire Audio. And and so many more. And so, and the reason why this is because I'm legally blind. I was born legally blind with retinitis pigmentosa and then macular degeneration. And as I started to have a little hint of success in the film industry, I was like, well, how can I support other people? Because I don't see people out there like me. I don't see people with disabilities out there doing stuff. I know they're out there, I know there's killer talent, but sometimes people need a little bit of extra help. And so that's what we do. And so I started the foundation, and so any musician with a disability, if you receive government assistance, you can go to ableartist.org. That's singular, ableartist.org. Check us out and apply and become a member.
Thank you so much, Stephen. So what we'll do is we'll put a link for that down. Go and check it out. It's an ever-growing community of people and something that Spitfire and myself look forward to supporting furthermore in the future. What time is it? It's 5:30. This is when everyone's due to meet, and we're going to head up in about half an hour. But already there's quite a lot of people here. We didn't do name badges. Hello, everyone. Hello. Thank you so much for coming. I'm just so delighted to get all of you troglodytes out of your studios. Hope your studio tans bear the outdoors. But thanks ever so much for coming. Today this is all about people meeting each other and talking, and if you want to come and talk to me, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to put it on the YouTube channel to share it with people who couldn't be here today. But just wanted to say thanks again for coming, and let's all drink like English men and women when we get to the other side. Also, it's my real privilege to introduce to you all Miriam, who is our manager of Spitfire Inc. We became Spitfire Inc. in the USA. We're going to be building our operations here, but you do have a representative of Spitfire, someone who can help out should you need. So do make a beeline to Miriam to introduce yourselves. We go to the top, enjoy the sunset, come down, free drinks.
The goal is to be back down here by 7:30, 7:40-ish, so just kind of keep that in mind if you get lost from the group. We're trying to be at the bar by 8. The Dresden, it's only half a mile away, so.
I hope to be there a lot earlier. Anyway, right, here we go. Excellent. I don't actually know where we're going. That's a point. Miriam? Which one? Yeah. So, I'm not going to be able to lift a glass tomorrow with this. How you doing, man? Thanks for coming.
Oh, thanks for having me. This is such a cool thing.
Oh, thank you.
It's a pleasure meeting you. Seriously.
This way. Yep. Miriam leads the way. Look at this. What a group. It's insane. How you doing?
Kristen, how you doing? Good to see you again.
And you. How's life?
Doing great.
Yeah? Busy?
I just moved to SoCal after being up north for years and years.
Where were you based?
Manteca, like Central Valley area.
Okay, right. Something that a lot of people ask me is whether location is still important in this day of kind of emails and stuff. Would you say it still is?
I'm finding it is, especially if you're still trying to enter. Like once you start building your connections up, I think it helps a lot. You can kind of move around a little bit because you take your connections with you.
Right.
I've experienced that before. Like I had connections to production companies, and when they went belly up, I didn't have any other connections to kind of fall back on. So it helps if you can be in person for sure.
Right, and being seen, I think being seen on the scene, not only with producers and stuff, but with peers, I think, you know.
Exactly, yeah, that helps a lot. I've gotten more into the engineering background, so right now I'm doing mastering mostly.
Okay, great.
And I'm able to do that online, but it helps if I can build a rapport with somebody in person.
Yeah,
it's still
absolutely.
Nothing beats an in-person connection.
That's cool. Awesome. No, it's insane what you can do, like on the hop now. You know, with like, you know, you're talking about doing stuff remotely. It's just like kind of crazy.
It's starting to pick up for me, but I'm kind of niched down to electronic music, so I'm connected to a very big crowd, and it's you got to tap into those groups where they're at.
Yeah.
Facebook groups, Instagram, DMing. Like you got to pick your zone and just focus on that area and really connect with them one-on-one.
That's interesting.
It's hard to duplicate, but I think if you can get past the stage of like where you start to get known, then you can have that word of mouth carry virally.
Yeah. Yeah, are we going the wrong way? Yeah. Yes. Okay. They said back in London, they said you're going to have security. I said I've got Miriam. It's fine.
Excellent security.
We're turning right.
Yeah.
Think.
Man, this is so intense.
See, man, you're right.
Great turnout.
How's it going? Yeah, good to see you, man. You're all right. What we're gonna do is just play on the swings for a bit. I think Miriam maybe needs to get. This is insane. Because you've got really strange skin.
What is it?
Oh, the bad.
But you had the grass thing, then it...
That's cool, isn't it? I'm not entirely confident they know where. Do you know this route? No. No, okay. Don't know if we're going the right way.
I don't know. I don't think, are there markers?
These aimless composers kind of not dealing with the outdoors at all.
Well, these LA guys, they should actually know where we're going.
We're going up. Oh, there it is.
All right.
That's about the same height as Arthur's seat, I would say.
Don't get altitude sickness when you get up.
No, cheapest. That was so weird this week. Well, that's just, how you doing? You all right?
How are you doing?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
And you, Christian?
A huge fan.
Oh man.
My name is Ben. You're a legend.
Oh no.
Truly legend. Doing something spectacular for the composers.
Oh, thank you, man.
Yeah.
How's work for you? What are you up to?
I just finished my first feature film.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's been.
How was it?
It was a huge experience. Beautiful and nice. Yeah. The premiere is now on the 26th in New York. And
what's the show called?
It's a feature film. It's produced by Ice-T. Maybe you know Ice-T from Law and Order. Yeah, it's for actually the Afro-Americans and the police getting clashes all the time.
Yeah.
So it has a good story.
I know what it feels like at the end of a feature. You're just everything.
They didn't let me. I haven't still seen the mix. So on the 26th, I'm on the premiere. Either I'm gonna be hiding, or I'm gonna be very proud.
Yeah. There's, for me, the thing that always surprises me, your favourite cue becomes your biggest disappointment, and there will be a cue that you never really kind of took much notice of will become your new favourite.
It's gonna be the best.
Yeah, and it'll be a mixture of, I don't know, for me often it'll be the way the musicians played it. It's like, this is the cue I'm really excited about, and you somehow think it's going to be so much better. But also the way they dub it as well, you'll get.
Yeah. That's when I'm a little bit scared and nervous. But you have much more experience than me.
Well,
This is a great advice. Don't be very happy about a cue.
but yeah. Look at this. This is sensational.
Beautiful. First time in LA or?
Oh no, this is my first time up here, but I've been here many times. Where are you from?
New York.
New York.
Last year I met Jake Jackson. I was like, you gotta say hi to Christian.
You say hi to him now.
Hi Jake.
Hi Jake.
So yeah, we met at there was actually a Spitfire presentation. He was.
Yes.
He
That
was
looked really
amazing.
good. That. Yeah.
Yeah, so I met him there. We spoke about reverbs. And
That's all he ever
that
speaks
time-
about.
Yeah. So I said, you gotta say hi to Christian. I don't know when he's coming here, so I can meet him.
Fantastic.
Cool.
So how you doing, man?
I'm good. Good.
What have you been up to?
Finishing a Pauly Shore movie.
Hey, what?
Pauly Shore movie
Oh right.
that we're producing. And so using a lot of Spitfire stuff.
Oh,
on
good stuff. How's it gone?
that. It's going good. I got about a month and a half left. I just started, so it's always that scary sort of moment.
Yeah.
But it's going good. It's my 50th project.
Wow.
So
That's good. Where are you based?
here, LA,
Whereabouts?
Northridge.
Okay. Very nice.
So right over in the valley. It's a little bit cheaper than the west side.
Gotcha.
So this is great. Thanks for having
Oh
us.
man, it's an absolute pleasure. It's great to get you. How you doing?
Hey, good. How are you, man?
Very good. So what's your names?
I'm Nick.
Pleased to meet you, Nick.
Nice to meet you.
Olga.
Pleased to meet you, Olga.
Nice to meet you.
I'm so happy there's more than one girl because the last trek there was only one girl.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
My channel is still my channel is still 0.2% female, so I'm not exactly a hit with the ladies. I would
Work on it.
I need to work on that. So what are you guys up to? What have you been up to lately?
I do Trillo music
Okay.
in LA. I work in LA.
Excellent.
And
I'm a violinist.
Good for you.
Yeah, just trying to be rich and famous. That's it.
just that. That's it.
That's
Easy.
That's simple.
Well, yeah, right. Then you guys opening a department in LA now?
Yeah, I mean, only 4 years ago, it was 75% UK customers, 25% rest of the world, of which 10% was USA,
Okay.
and now it's 60% USA,
Oh wow.
which
60%?
60. So it's changed. Our demographic has changed
Wow.
rapidly, and it's just like it's a word of mouth thing. It's,
Well, I've spent about tens of thousands of
oh
dollars.
man, thank you.
No, I love all your guys' stuff. It's great.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun to work on. The BBC thing has been insane. Yeah, because it's kind of asking the impossible out of the team, really. But to see, and I'm repeating myself here, but to see the words BBC just in your plugging box, it's like pretty like that's kind of
I don't even see the word, the logo. It's a very
Yeah.
famous.
exactly.
And how long does that
Sorry,
take? How long did that take?
about 3.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, every day we record. Gives us
Every day for 3.5 years?
Well, every day we record or sample gives us about a month's work in post-production, and we recorded for more than 80 days.
Okay.
Um,
I see.
So that's why we've had to really expand the team and stuff. But no, it's very exciting. So good. Getting the
You're
juice.
actually great. You're always in the mountains, always walking with the dog. So
Yeah.
So you have the condition.
Well, it was yeah. I just I think it's more for mental health. I do it.
Yeah.
Get out. Yeah. I find that all of the inspiration comes when I'm out.
Right.
Not. I think computers the worst, the least. Well, it's a typewriter.
Yeah.
You gotta. Look at this.
No, but you're right. The getting exercise totally helps stay good.
Oh yeah.
Changed my life.
Like really.
I was like 245 pounds.
Oh, you've done well.
Like about 15 years ago, and I started working out, got better at doing what I do. This is the second hike today.
Oh, good for you, man.
So,
And it's so good to get that on camera because
but I watch your vlogs all the time, and you're over in Edinburgh.
that's the reason I do it is to.
And half of what I like is watching you nature.
Well, I just think it's so, and it doesn't. It's not necessarily about hitting the gym.
Right.
I think, yeah, creativity doesn't come at a typewriter.
No.
Oh, look at
And if you
this.
sit in the studio locked away, you're never gonna get out of that mindset.
No. And we all know we've all been hit by. Well, we're hit by inspiration all of the time.
Right.
And we know that it's instantaneous. It's not. Doesn't come by. You know, chipping away at it like a mine.
Sure.
That's good. So you are a native here?
Native of California.
Right.
From the Bay Area. Moved out here about 25 years ago. Been working in film industry for all those years.
Excellent.
So,
And are you classically trained or?
no. In fact, I don't know how to read music.
Good for you.
I started out as a visual effects artist, and I still do that currently. But I had a big composer vouch for me.
Oh, hi!
Hi. I think I recognise you.
Yeah, you look familiar.
I had a pretty big composer vouch for me about 15 years ago and got my first gig.
Oh, brilliant.
And I've been managing to do at least 2 to 3 movies a year.
That's a good number, man.
They're all small movies, but you know,
Yeah. But
it's something that I never dreamed I'd be able to do coming out here. But you know, just go after it.
Hey, doing, man?
Doing well, Donovan.
Good to meet you, Donovan. How you doing? Thanks so much for coming.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I actually wanted to let you know, you have been pretty, like I found your channel in May last year.
All right.
And I decided pretty much that week that I was gonna start composing for film. And that I was gonna, like, that had always been a dream, and I decided then that I was gonna do it. And I just finished about 2 weeks ago my first feature film. And
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Was it Helen? Do you want to give up now?
No, absolutely not. No, it's just fuel. However, I'm really excited to kind of move on to the next projects.
And what kind of score did you do for it?
So I mean, it was the film was a drama thriller, and it was largely based around sound design and strings.
Okay.
So not as much. I mean, it was a lower budget film. The only kind of live stuff that we were doing were a couple soloists, but like otherwise, I mean, it had to be based on a lot of synth sound design, and then
Great.
like I said, some strings.
And what strings did you do? Any live strings or?
The only live strings was a live cello, and then at one part there was a live.
But that's so good to hear because
Yeah.
I think I think it's the mistake a lot of people make is not getting at least one player on
Yeah.
because I think they make so much difference.
Absolutely.
And your ear is naturally you don't have to mix them out.
Yeah.
They can be right in there with the samples.
Yeah.
But your ear naturally is drawn to them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, the big thing, I'm doing a seminar this week about this very subject, about how I worked on a BBC project which has the most ridiculous schedules, and I always try and use musicians because they make my job easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You know, I'm not having to sit there worrying about the legato, programming
and all the
and
programming,
sculpting.
yeah,
It's just, I
that's
know
the
those will go on top. I'll concentrate on this side of things. So it's great to hear.
Yeah.
And what did you use as your samples?
The two shows for a lot of the strings were the chamber strings. That's kind of my
great.
favorite chamber,
It's my favorite,
and
too.
Oliver Arnold's chamber. Those are my two favorite libraries. So
It's
they
awesome.
get kind of put onto everything, but I did a lot of like my own sound design. I made a lot of samples from like guitar kind of retracking stuff, and then also I did some really fun things with kind of piano stuff. It was largely based around piano as well, so it was fun.
And did you go to music college?
No, I decided not to.
No,
so I started. My approach was self-taught and put out a ton of albums. Since 2017, I've put out 9 albums that were all self-produced.
Yeah.
And that was kind of my learning, was trying to, watching YouTube videos and putting stuff together.
Well, this is something
that
I
way.
really think that people should seriously. I don't want to dissuade people from getting a formal education or traditional education, rather. But the thing that I'm really aware of is the amount of student debt people get into now,
absolutely.
and it's tough enough earning money, scraping away as an artist in any of the arts, but particularly in this very competitive business of film and TV composition. The thought of doing that with $50,000 worth of debt is just terrifying to me.
And I was applying for places like Berkeley College of Music and stuff like that. And
isn't that like $50,000 a term or something?
It was like I gathered all the payments throughout 4 years, and it was like over $200,000, which was not doable for me. I was paying for my own school. So
The thing is, with debt, if you get into debt, you need to have a solid way of being able to service it, and that is not becoming a film and TV composer, I'm afraid. So it's encouraging, and it's great to hear that you're making your own samples and stuff. I think it's so important,
and it's fun. It's
so fun.
Yeah.
I went up to record at a piano on top of a mountain the other day. So much fun.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, I actually live pretty high up as well, so I was kind of enjoying seeing all that. I came from Park City, Utah, actually.
Oh right,
And,
wow.
It's kind of the same idea. I live at like 7,000 feet, but.
And you moved to LA when?
No, I actually came out here for this. I drove out for this.
From Utah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus,
I
buy you a big
wanted
drink.
to meet you.
Oh man, that's so kind. Look at me. You just find me a piano. I'll come and see you.
I've got a pretty cool piano.
So you don't feel that being outside the so-called hub, that's not.
I'm actually planning on moving here next year.
You feel that is necessary?
I want to, because I've noticed with the projects, that I've kind of been exposed to and stuff like that. I am the type of person that is extremely driven, and I try to work, really hard and really fast, that type of thing. I mean, I'm 23 and I've done like 12 albums so far, well 11 albums. I'm working on 2 albums right now, and I'm that type of person who just tries to keep going, and I'm struggling finding that in my area. So, and I don't like working by myself really anymore. I kind of want to.
Oh look, guys!
The Blue Angels. Wow. By the way.
Wait till Paul gets the bill for that. That was insane. So Utah's, it's above California, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit, and across east a little bit.
Yeah.
When I left my house yesterday morning, it was like 28 degrees Fahrenheit. and you know that's considerably colder.
Yeah. How you doing? You're, good to see you, man.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, thank you for coming, man.
Yeah. So I guess if I had to ask a question. I've been composing for a while, but mostly as like a sole proprietor.
Right.
And I want to take the next step of just taking out the personal side of business and just really setting up, LLC or something.
Right.
But really, again, how artists you're just so in your head with the music. Okay, I got to do all the other stuff now, all the other 20%, right? I just I don't know what your advice would be on, taking that next step to moving up, separating yourself from, I guess there's a legality side to it and all of that stuff because the bigger your clients get, the bigger contracts get, and they want you to hire musicologists and all. They kind of trick you in something sometimes.
No.
At least in my experience, so I've been
no, I've
treading
not.
that water.
No, I think that you just like running any business.
Yeah.
You scale according to the size of the job that you're doing.
Yeah.
So, people talking about getting managers, that kind of stuff. I always say just wait until you have the leads, which they can help you with. So I know someone like Daniel Pemberton, I think, didn't have management for a long time, and then I think he held out for a long time, and then as a consequence, you can negotiate very good deals with people because you have something that you're bringing to the table.
Yeah.
But it is like any business arrangement. It is reciprocal, and you bringing talent to the table isn't what it's about. It's bringing business to the table. So that's the only bit of kind of business advice I could give. Other than, I think that it's important just to get what you're doing right first before worrying about the business too much.
Yeah.
And I would always just say, just try and avoid legal at every step of the way.
That's my goal.
It never ends well.
You live here. I mean, it's a litigious state, so you're completely surrounded by it.
Yeah, no, it's.
So you kind of, I think, being born and raised here, you always have that back in your back of your head because you've seen so much around here.
Yeah.
Versus kind of being able to put your head down and just work.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to minimize. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
That's an absolute pleasure. It's great to see people breaking into a sweat.
It's Connor. I met Connor here. Nice
How you doing, man? Good to meet you, Connor. You're all right.
Nice to meet you.
And you, man. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Excellent.
This is great. Watching YouTube channels for a while. It's nice to finally meet you.
I love that. Everyone's really earning their beer.
Oh my god. How often do you get out to LA?
On average 3 times a year, I would say. Yeah. I've learned to really like it. As a Londoner at first, it was. I didn't really get it.
Yeah.
But I think you've got to make little bits your home.
Yeah.
I think otherwise it's just a very.
Because you travel a lot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just think coming to the same hotels, getting to know certain areas, because LA is just. It's so sprawling.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you build an affection for it, and so I look forward to coming out these days. And I've been spending a lot of time in Scotland this summer, so I've not had any of this weather, so it's been welcome. Look at this.
We hate it too.
Yeah, I know.
How you feeling?
Not too bad. It's great.
Yeah.
Perfect kind of trek to go on.
We are going to keep going. Everyone take a breath and then let's keep going. So let's try and meet in the center. There's like a big grassy courtyard area. Let's try and congregate there. It might be busy, so keep a lookout for just familiar faces because it's going to be pretty packed up there.
What could possibly go wrong? How are you doing?
Someone get lost? I'm the tall guy. You're the tall guy, I'm the loud guy. We need hot photos to the band.
You happy, Maroon? Yeah. It's a great turnout, isn't it?
Hey, hi Christian.
How you doing, man?
I post on forum a lot.
Oh yeah, yes I
posted a couple of months.
What's your account? Is it Noam H or something?
Levy. L.
No, okay, Noam L. Yes.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this whole education thing that you guys are doing with sort of sharing project files. Is that going to be MIDI? Is it going to be Logic files, do you think?
Well, I'm hoping it's going to be a mixture of everything. I hope that we're going to kind of kick the ball.
Right, and then people can add.
Well, I mean, I'd love it if a couple of YouTube stars were made out of it, you know, to be
Sure.
I think the best way to scale any project is for it to be really handed to the community. Mm-hmm. And something that I've really been very strict with the team about with this BBC thing in particular is for us not to specify what it is people want. So we just rely on what we always have done with Spitfire, which is that thing of we're composers.
Right.
And when I was learning how to MIDI orchestrate, I just wish someone could have sent me a file. But if they had, it would have made no sense because I wouldn't have had the same palette as them.
Sure.
So that's a starting point, really, for us.
Yeah, and the fact that it's all one orchestra in a room.
Yeah, one orchestra, one room, one package. And there's no third-party sample. So it's just, if you have it and we have the same DAW, or if you have it. I think also what's kind of quite interesting about it for me is thinking about how would I program the things that I'm going to program and share for people who don't use Logic, and just so I could distribute it on a MIDI file. And I think there's certain kind of programming hygiene I'd follow where I wouldn't touch the faders within Logic.
Precisely.
So it's almost like that kind of thing which good engineers do, of recording stuff so that the mix engineer brings it up in Unity.
Absolutely. It's kind of forces you to stick to the rules of real-life orchestration, because the expression, I mean, you can put expression in MIDI, but you can't put like track moves or anything like that. So. Yeah.
But I'm also quite excited because I'm going to do a hybrid track with BBC. Ooh. And I'm going to do it in Logic, and all of the sounds, even the electronic sounds,
are going to be ES2?
No, it's going to be
or whatever it
made
is.
from BBC.
Oh, okay, wow.
With Logic distortions and stuff.
So like Albion style stuff. That's going to be cool.
But so I can send you a Logic file, and if you've got BBC SO and Logic and the native plugins, then it'll work. That's a good idea. I could actually use the synths as well.
I was just figuring, it wouldn't be a Christian project without EXS.
Yeah, absolutely right.
You come from Georgia. Yeah.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Christian, man.
Michael.
Pleased to meet you, Michael.
Good to meet you. I come from the faraway land of Oklahoma.
Really?
Yeah, I just moved here a month ago.
Okay. How are you finding that?
It's a change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very ignorant. I've heard of Oklahoma, but where is it? What's it like?
Well, I saw you're in Denver.
Yeah.
So it's one state over to the east.
Okay.
And then down.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And did you move here for career purposes?
Yes. Yeah, I moved here. I'm attending the screen scoring program at USC.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're both roommates.
Okay.
Yeah. This is Brett, by the way.
How you doing, Brett, man? Pleased to meet you.
Good to meet you.
But
so you feel that coming to a hub when you're starting out is still a thing that people should do?
I believe so. Yeah.
It's a really important question that people ask me all the time, and I think people don't quite believe it when I say, no, you do have to do it when you're starting out. You need to be seen.
For sure.
And something that people always forget to mention with these courses is what happens is one of you will get out of the course and will strike lucky and will get something, and you may need your help.
Definitely.
And it's the next kind of cluster of talent that will actually feed off each other. I think that's an important factor that people don't take into account.
For sure.
But you enjoying the course?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we recorded over at Capitol yesterday.
Oh, that'll do.
That was quite thrilling.
Insane.
The talent of the musicians in the room just made my brain explode.
Oh,
it was exponential.
Yeah. It's like, I do not deserve to be in this room.
No, well, I always say, musicians who can't play teach, and people who can't teach compose. So I think that's why we all suffer from. But look at this.
When you were first starting out, did you experience sort of having friends that had things that were successful and you were able to help out, or vice versa?
One of the really big motivating part of Spitfire on my channel is I just felt totally isolated because it was pre-social media.
Yeah.
So just people, you just felt like you're on your own. And what changed for me is I got this place in Tileyard in King's Cross, which is a community, and then suddenly didn't feel alone, and that was really, really helpful. So yeah, I can't apply. I think it's a different time now. But I just did apprenticeship, so I didn't go to college. I just used to program for a composer called Anne Dudley, who's Oscar-winning composer.
Oh,
and
okay. Yeah.
And she, I just looked at what she was doing. I went, oh, like you put an M for the Q and pick. That's all you need to know, isn't it? Really? I watched her doing it, and yeah. And then I was very lucky to get a good agent at the time who was good at networking me. But I believe there's ways of networking without an agent these days. And the big bit of advice I always give about getting agents is I think you only go to an agent when you've got something to bring them, because it's a business transaction. It's not a talent transaction. And I think once you've got something, a contract for them to look over, whatever, is a good time to go for that. So, there we go. My arms are killing me.
Is that heavy?
But you've got to imagine holding it like this, like that.
No, you didn't. That kills your shoulder
muscles.
I would imagine this is
that full frame?
Yeah, have a go. No, it's MFT.
Yeah.
It's not good for your suppleness if you're piano playing.
Are they pretty durable?
Sorry?
Do they last a while?
Yeah, well, you can see this has been through the
through the rain.
Yeah, they're great, and they're waterproof. And this is me falling down on half the seats. I probably fell into a bag of shit. Right, we're being gathered.
Alright guys, come on
That dog.
Yeah, dog. Right here. Yeah, if you're in the front, come take a knee. Come over here, guys.
Come
over
close,
here.
Come close.
Come on.
Like you like each other. Like being sweaty and stinky ain't a big deal.
Curve in here. Curve in here a little bit. Curve in here. Yeah. Come on. We want to be able to see this. Mark it. Yeah, curve in. Curve in.
Miriam, do you want to take this?
Is this going? Do I have to go in? Okay, it's going. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is
Flip the screen, Miriam. Flip the screen around.
I have too many things in my hand. Oh, I see. Yeah.
We're gonna look right here, all right? I'm gonna do 3, 2, 1, okay? You guys ready?
No, hold on.
We only count in fours.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, here we go, guys. You ready? Look right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold on one sec.
Wait, I want to get in it.
Yeah, hop in. Is this rolling? Yes. Great. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now a big one. Everyone just big, okay? All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go, 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 go!
There's so many of you.
Did you lose your phone? I got your phone. It's right here. I was waiting for you to call it. Thank you.
Nice one. Yay! Whoa.
Alright, so yeah, enjoy the sunset. I say we make our way down in like the next 15, 20 minutes.
Hey,
how are you feeling?
I'm good. I'm feeling amazing.
Yeah.
This is
feeling so amazing.
We've been nerding out and walking and hiking and trying to talk while nerding out and just busting up these hills. This is such an amazing community. Thank you guys so much for bringing us all together today. Who does this, right? What company just like, hey, let's go hike at sunset on a Sunday? It's amazing.
And like here, it's like a minor yeah, I know. It's like you don't actually get to enjoy the ride.
Christian, just want to say hello. Thank you. I'm Huey. Nice to meet you. Thanks so
How
much.
you doing?
Thanks for having us. Very good.
Excellent.
Yes, very
it's
good.
nice to get out and about, isn't it?
It's lovely. Yes. To see LA in its glory.
So beautiful.
It's great. Yeah,
it really
yeah.
is stunning.
Yeah. So
I
thanks.
can't believe I've not been up here before.
That's beautiful.
Ridiculous.
Good to see you.
Yeah, how's things?
Everything's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you never been here?
No, I've been to LA about 24 times.
Yeah, this is one of the best spots in town.
Yeah, I can't. It's
Love it.
absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you for making such an amazing company.
Oh,
and
thank you, man. I
doing
really
so much
appreciate
for
it.
the
I just love the community. It's just great not to feel. It's just talking to some of our peers, and when I was first doing composition, it was really lonely. And I think that because of social media and stuff, it's just
It's incredible
improving.
how many people are here.
Yeah,
I
no,
never
it's-
thought there'd be so many of us.
They're all after your job.
No!
Hey! Oh look, red face.
Red face. It's a Scottish thing.
It's a Scottish thing, yeah. How you doing, man? You all right? Good to see you. Very good. Excellent.
Edinburgh's really going to have to up their game now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
You're from Edinburgh?
Glasgow.
Glasgow.
Yeah. But I live in Cincinnati now. So.
All right. What brought you to Cincinnati?
Oh, worked and a lady friend back in the
Okay.
day. Yeah.
It's the usual thing. Cincinnati, where is that? That's
Ohio.
Okay, right.
One of the flyover states on the way here.
Okay, excellent stuff. So you're in LA for
this?
Oh man, that's so many beers I'm going to buy you later.
Oh
thanks,
yeah,
man.
well I'll take you up on that.
Yeah. Excellent stuff.
But pleasure to meet you.
And you, man, and you.
But this guy came all the way from Johannesburg.
No.
Yes,
Seriously?
he did.
No.
Seriously. So he's got me beat by several.
That's insane. Miriam, this gentleman's come from quite a long way.
South Africa.
Johannesburg.
I've been taking a poll, like, where have you come from? How
You
far?
win.
I think you might win. Yeah, you might win. We have yet to decide on a prize for that, but there could be one.
So what's the scene like out in Johannesburg?
It's pretty quiet actually. It's kind of why I came here.
Right.
Mostly because there are not a lot of composers. A lot of them like move to other countries to work there, and there are not a lot of opportunities as well. To do media composition, and it's kind of like pretty tight knit.
Okay.
So coming here, it's a lot more open. You get to meet other composers for like events like this. And just make new connections. Hopefully I make the right one, because I've actually been meaning to live here for a while.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really awesome. Honestly, this hike has been pretty amazing.
Oh, thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
It's quite a workout.
Yes, we're not used to it.
I'm not used to it at
I'm in
all.
a stupid dress shirt as well. What have I come as?
Yeah, it's probably easier without.
No, you get used to it. Trust me.
So, if you could describe your style of composition, what would it be?
Right now, it's pretty hybrid, because I come from a music production kind of background. I made a lot of electronic music. So for me, sound design was like a very, very, very big thing. So looking at a few of my compositions now, I've noticed that they're kind of taking a bit of a hybrid route where I'm combining, very gritty synthesized sounds.
Like the sound of that?
Yeah, like with your usual orchestral sounds. Not easy.
But man, that's plenty
but
of strength.
it's really doable.
Yeah. You stick at it, man. How you doing? Nice to meet you. How you doing?
Joy.
Pleased to meet you,
So
Catherine.
great
You're
to
right.
meet you.
Excellent
Yeah.
stuff. How you doing?
Good.
Excellent.
Good.
It's good to get out in the open, isn't it?
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Are you based here?
Yeah. I'm good friends with Miriam, and I've been helping connect her with different organizations. I'm the vice president of the Alliance for Women Film Composers.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, it's such a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah.
The accent, are you from?
Australia.
Australia, right. So,
Yeah, and my dad's English, and
Right,
I got
gotcha, yeah.
relatives over in London. So.
Brilliant.
But I've been in the States for 20 years, so my accent's just
It's a kind of a mixture,
weird.
yeah. And how's things going with the association?
It's good. The Alliance is doing really well. It's growing, and there's now another organization that I know you guys I connected Miriam with them, so I know there's going to be more collaboration. It's the Composer Diversity Collective, which is founded by Michael Abels. So so it's just cool, like all these inclusivity organizations popping up, But the goal is to amplify composers. And
Absolutely. Well, it's very interesting. If you look here, it's a very poor mix at the moment. It's a little way to go. But, you know, I think there is a real shift in England at the moment. There is a real change. I'm not a fan of positive discrimination, but I think when a correction needs to occur, you just need to open up the bandwidth.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
You know, I got schooled a little bit when I did an episode on my channel about this disparity, and it was like it's not really your battle, but what you need to do is you need to accept that it is a minority, and that minority just needs to have bandwidth.
But here's my argument to that. You know, like on the Alliance is the Alliance for, not of.
Yeah.
We have men on our board, and it's like with any issue we have in society, it's not up to the victims of that issue to fix it. It's up to everyone.
Yeah.
And it's so important. Like for me in my career as a composer, some of the people that have helped me the most have been dudes, white dudes. You know, because they've given me visibility, they've given me opportunities, and it's like we all. So it's really encouraging for me when people like you speak up, because it's like
I think it's less to do with that thing of just being not the owner of the narrative. I think is the important thing. It's a nuanced thing. So what we do is it's Spitfire. We try and feature as many female composers, but we never discuss the victim.
But that's great. Yeah.
It's
And
just actually you're a brilliant composer.
And hopefully you don't even call them a female composer. It's just like they're all
absolutely
composers,
not.
right?
And between us, Paul and I, we have 7 children between us, and 6 of them are girls. And for me, it's just like for them not to think that this is something that the family business is something they could go into, because there's no one, there's no people to look up to, which I think is the reason people do things. People reason become footballers is because of David Beckham.
Yes, exactly.
And people can relate to.
Modeling is so important, and it's something that, exactly. It's something it's part of this chicken and egg challenge with this whole issue of inclusivity, because it's like no one wants positive discrimination, right? But at the same time, it's like we need to raise up the models so people can just see, oh, it's normal for everyone to be doing this. Lolita Ritmanis is one of the founders of the AWFC and was our president for quite a while. She conducted, an orchestral performance of her music, and a little girl and her mom came up to her afterwards, and the little girl said, I didn't realize that girls could do this. And it's just heartbreaking, because it's like, it's not like, most of the dudes are out there being like, we're the only ones that can do that. That's not happening, but people just need to see role models to really hit home that it's an option for them. So, the Alliance is just all about, amplification, education, and advocacy. It's just like, this exists. Let's keep building upon it.
Well, it's just a very interesting thing. I've been hearing talking about the current government that are here at the moment, and how they're kind of going in the opposite direction of green fuels and stuff. And people are going, the business opportunity is massive.
It's like the money.
And, the investors in Spitfire, when we said, and it's an incredibly low proportion of users who are female, they said, well, imagine people here today. That's a huge opportunity. I think that's the way you've got to see it, as an opportunity, not a...
Just like purely look at the dollars. And it's the same in the film industry. It's like when you have movies that are about women that has female-led characters, those movies make a lot of money.
Frozen did all right, didn't it?
Did fine. Did all right.
I always laugh that because it was just an obscene success. I can imagine the producers standing behind the writers whilst they're writing Frozen 2 going, come on, hurry up, they're all growing up, they're getting really sick of the songs.
Hello!
Looks like a big sci-fi
How old are your kiddos?
10, 8 and 7.
Wow.
And I think Paul's are 18 or 19 down to about 7 as well. So, I got busy quickly. So the clock runs out.
Exactly. That's a lot of kiddos.
I'm just going to grab the sun as it sets.
Do our work.
I know, exactly. Awesome. How beautiful, man. Very moved by the turnout here today, actually. It's been quite something. God, we've earned a beer, though, I have to say.
Christian, I'll tell you what to say.
What do we need to say?
You guys make the best damn content.
Oh, thanks, man.
And I have to tell you, I also have an Apollo 2 from Sontronics.
Okay.
I watched your video, geeked out. But I need to tell you how thankful I am for especially Eric Whitaker and the obsession you guys have with legato transitions and the engine.
Right.
I'm noticing the changes, and I'm so thankful, A, that you organized this, but B, that you guys are so obsessive about the smallest details. Because any guys here that we connect with, any girls here that we connect with, we all are so aware of what you put into it, all the mic positions, all of it.
Great to hear that, man.
So I like finding out a little bit from her about what you plan to do here in the U.S., more events like this and stuff. You're bringing.
It was only 4 years ago that only 10% of our business came from America.
That's already more.
And it's now 60%.
Is it really?
Yeah, it was just a kind of a word of mouth or a marketing, you know, the reach. So it's really important for us, and that's why we became incorporated. What I'm going to start doing is I'm going to actually start bringing my family, so I'm going to start coming out during my holidays.
Yes.
Because I want to be out here as much as possible, but I don't want to be away from my family and stuff.
Absolutely.
So you're a native of Los Angeles?
I just moved here.
Oh, where from?
I live in Miami, Florida. Okay. And I live in Mid-City, and I've got my studio in a back house out back, so I literally walk 8 feet to go work.
Right.
And it's a smaller room, and I've got a few vintage synths. I've got my upright felted piano, which I'm doing, and I'm going to help you guys out. It's a Boston UP132, the 52-inch upright, and there are 3 guys here in town where we're obsessively trying to figure out how to get this thing mic'd properly.
Yeah.
So when you've dug into the miking positions, there are a group of us here who we would love to help in any way possible.
Right.
Because this is all we do every day. We're like, how the fuck do we get inside the piano? I don't want the piano coming at me.
No.
How do you put the listener inside of it? So anyway, I don't want to bother you. I know you got a lot.
I'm here to be bothered, but no, it's great to meet you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I mean, have you tried the old Coles mics yet?
Yes, and I have the 4038s. I just demoed them against the SF2s by Royer. And frankly, there was not a big enough difference in that type of mic for me to replace them yet. I use them as a wide image, a dark image. I've got the Apollo 2, interestingly at a tilted axis and twisted a little bit.
Okay.
And it's making up a better center image than it is a left and right. And then I'm using 2 DPA 4011s at ORTF to get the hammer action up front. And so right now I've got 6 contiguous channels running, and then I'll put a Pro Q3 on them and cut certain parts out of each.
Right.
But the thing I do want to tell you about at some point is I did find Avalon's new preamp, which has tone shaping that works for the Apollo 2 like a charm. It takes what the Apollo 2 can do and puts it onto steroids.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. So
this is something that someone said to me when I can't remember, it was that Russian mic that I got. It was very expensive.
The
Soyuz, yes.
Yeah.
They said that really, once you get into that kind of area of mic, you're really going to start thinking about the preamp.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But look, I get the Coles conversation, but I have a friend who just bought a pair of A440s matched from AEA, 12K in mics. I don't notice a sizable difference.
No.
Don't tell him I said that. But I don't notice a sizable difference, and I'm starting to think it's actually a less is more approach, unless you're doing sampling, which when I saw how many you put on the piano and air, I was shocked.
Yeah, but that's Jeff Foster, he's a nutter.
But that was amazing. This guy, I thought I was obsessed with piano mics.
Oh, the felt piano. Oh, no, the felt piano.
Felted piano.
Oh, that, and it sounds just insane.
Yeah.
So, yeah, often I just think you can do mic overkill, but for some reason with that piano,
well, and that's what I saw. I saw when you went to lunch, and then they retuned it, and then placed the mics back. That's a level of expertise that I'm like. But I do have to tell you again and again and again, your Eric Whitaker is transcendent. And what you were able to do with how intuitive the legato shifting was, just from key to key, and if that's the future of where you're heading, especially with this new release that you guys just premiered, which I love that you're doing like a keynote now.
Yeah.
Because that's what we all want to know. It's like, I love the walkthroughs. You guys already do the best you can, but now making a public thing about it, where you can take this and bring it to a certain area.
Yeah, absolutely.
All of us want to fly to London. We want to hit Noble Rock for a drink later. We want to learn how to drink like the Brits. But so anyway, I can't tell you how much I'm inspired, and every single time I sit down to try to fiddle about, another song comes out.
Yeah, no, this is, I think that we've all had terrible writer's block in the past.
Yes.
And that's when we're sampling, the thing that really what gets me personally through it, because as you can imagine, it's quite tedious. It's just knowing that it's going to give you something. Do you know what I mean? You just go,
yeah, man.
When we were recording Tundra, I was just like, just get me these because I just know that I'll never have writer's block again with this stuff.
Well,
you know?
and the LCO, it's the LCO textures, right? Okay, your Aurora Borealis track, or the simple things like the Oliver Arnold string waves that come in. I've just been summing all of them together, throwing it all through outboard gear, throwing some verb on it, pre-compression, interestingly, and trapping a symphony of sounds that should never belong together into chords. And I'm like, oh. So anyway, I'm thankful.
Oh man, I
Such a
appreciate the
beautiful
support.
gift,
Thank
and
you.
some of the people I've met.
Let's have a beer later.
Yeah.
Good man. Excellent. How you doing, man? Good to meet you.
nice to meet you.
Good to meet you too.
Christian.
Is it Christopher or?
Christopher, yes. Yeah.
This is why I don't like being called Chris, because some people are kind of hi Chris, and I'm like, no, because that's short for Christopher.
Right.
And then you'll think one day you'll call me Christopher, and I go, who's that?
And it's such a common name. It's always like, hey, Chris, and like 5 people turn around like, hey, oh, and it's not you, you know. Dude, I just want to say, great work on the BBC Symphony, man. I love it so far. It sounds great.
Yeah, I think it's that room is incredible.
Dude,
it's really, really versatile, and but for me, I'm just fascinated with this idea of being able to share projects.
Right.
It's like, get that, we can work together. You know, it's as simple as that.
That's
you know?
awesome. I'm so like novice when it comes to understanding technology. In that sense, I'm still new to this. I'm in this like 3 or 4 years now.
Okay.
So I'm still learning that. I definitely want to get on that, because all like the hidden mic positions sound really interesting to me.
Yeah.
The bleed mics. Like, do you know when that video is? Paul said that was going to come out pretty soon.
Oh yeah, it's just we're still doing final tweaks. You know, it's like one of those things of I keep on going, guys, stop it, it's finished. They go, no, we can do this with the piccolo. We're off. Okay, let's start heading down.
Whenever you guys are ready, we're gonna start moseying down.
Oh, I can hear the beer calling.
I don't know the story, but
Me neither.
Mr. Henson?
Hey.
I love the channel.
Oh, thanks, man.
It's very pleasure to meet you in person.
And you.
One of your first videos I saw, you were on the beach in Santa Monica.
Oh, yeah.
And you pieced together this thing and you composed to it. I live right next to that beach. And I was like, I know that place. He's in my backyard. I was really excited.
It was the piece about do you need theory? Was it that one? Do you need,
Yes.
Yeah, it was fun to do.
Lovely video.
I tried to do a monologue on the journey here. You know, one of those ones that I cut together, and it's about confidence. But ironically, I lost confidence in the monologue, so I scrapped it. But then this morning, I did 5 hours of filming on an episode I was really excited about, just in my hotel room. Just doing one of my what's in my bags, and I thought I just need to clean off some of my SD cards for this walk. So I had a pile of SD cards that were for this walk, and I had
we need to go this way. Go down.
Sorry guys, about face.
and then I had a pile of cards for the things that I'd recorded this morning, and I wiped those. And you get that little frog at the back of your throat, you want to burst into tears, but I'll have another go tomorrow.
I was like, I don't know, that feels nice.
How you doing, man? So sweaty.
Get away, you and me both. Two English blokes at the back.
So, how long have you been out here?
I've been here nearly 2 years now.
How are you finding it?
Feels like 2 minutes.
Really?
It really does. I love it. It's great. It's been great for me. I was a touring musician for years, a session musician, and so when I came out here, it was a good opportunity. I'd always written, I'd always produced keys. And when I moved out here, it was a good opportunity to. I'd kind of toured all my life, and I was kind of ready to stop touring.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think there's a finiteness to how much you can tour.
It's a young man's game to a degree, for sure. So this was a great opportunity for me to refocus a little bit, and go back to writing and production and things like that.
Was it easy for you to get the necessary paperwork to come out here?
It was hilarious to try and get the necessary paperwork, because you've got to apply for what's called an O1, which I'm sure maybe you know about, maybe you don't, I don't know.
That extraordinary talent thing.
It's the extraordinary talent, so you have to really dress yourself up as
extraordinarily talented.
There's nobody else in this country who can do what you do.
Right.
Which is kind of pushing the boundaries of anybody's abilities really to a degree. But nonetheless, What was really difficult about it was, I remember my immigration lawyer going, look, you can't go in there just being English, playing everything down. You've got to go in and be American. You've got to, and it was every bone in my body going, oh God, this is making my skin crawl, digging myself up this much. But what was really interesting actually was when I was getting all the paperwork together was, you kind of look back at your career and go, oh my God, I've actually done quite an absolute fuck ton of stuff. I'm actually quite good. Who knew?
Who knew? You know? I have to explain that there's basically, it is literally a polar opposite with what I would call social lubrication in this country. In order to communicate with people, particularly people that you don't know, you have to achieve the same status. So what they do here is everyone bigs themselves and each other up. Everyone's incredibly enthusiastic, and it is and this is going to be very alien for a lot of people who watch this. It is literally the opposite in Britain, but particularly from top north where you come from.
Completely, yeah,
where
absolutely.
Everyone plays it right down. And it's really interesting because I remember in London in the 80s this slightly more American approach to things. People going, I'm really excited to be working on something.
Sure.
And you go, that's really, you're being really immodest. But that's kind of normalised in London now. But it's interesting since moving to Scotland, if I start going, I'm really excited because I'm going to be, working with, Eric Whittaker or whatever, and they're just like, okay, back in your box, mate.
Yeah. There's a plethora of bushels to hide your light under up north. You're never going to be short of a bushel.
And whereabouts are you from?
I'm from Manchester originally. And I lived in London for years. And
whereabouts in London do you live?
I lived all over actually. I lived in Leicester Square for 10 years, which was
I did a stint.
Did you really?
I did Rupert Street, which is.
Oh my God, I know Rupert Street very well.
Yeah, I did a 12 stretch there.
Did you really?
Yeah, jeepers, man.
I loved living in the West End.
The stories.
Yeah, you and me both.
And there's that time of day. It's between 4 and 5:30 in the morning, where there's nothing of any value to do.
Yeah.
So it's just ne'er-do-wells.
Yeah, totally. We had this great thing happening. We had a 3-bedroom flat right in the square.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unheard of now. It's now knocked down and has become a M&M factory or something ridiculous. But our TV broke. We were kids. We were early 20s. Our TV broke and we just never got it repaired because all our windows just looked onto the square. It was better than any television show you could watch. And you'd see fights. You'd see people shagging. You'd see.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was fantastic.
I have to say the other thing that you'll notice about British people is, particularly musicians and people in the arts, is true professionals never talk about it. So we're talking about not having tellies.
True. Exactly, yeah.
So I noticed you always can tell an actor in Los Angeles because they're talking about it.
Completely, yeah.
But in England, they'll be talking about the football.
Yeah, it's really true.
Yeah.
How are you finding? Are you in Edinburgh?
I'm in Edinburgh. Yeah.
How's that working for you?
It's great. I love the quality of life up there. I think just London's got a bit insane, really, to be honest. There are a whole number of reasons why I moved. But the one thing that I am struggling with a little bit is I'm commuting a hell of a lot to London. So I'm now really good friends with, who I used to just seethe when I saw their name come up on the credits. They got that gig. And now I actually realise we're all in this kind of together. And something I've been saying to some of the students here today is that the thing about kind of going to college that can be really useful is that one of you will break first and will need the help of your peers, and there'll be overspill and stuff like that, and it's making that it's not necessarily just kind of interfacing into existing networks, but it's creating networks of your own.
Yes.
Strength in numbers and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, very true.
So what kind of work are you pursuing at the moment?
So when I first moved here, actually, everyone said just get through the first year. The first year is going to be every expat I know. The first year will be really hard, it'll be really tough, just cling on for dear life.
Why do you think that is?
I think because really that first year you're re-establishing yourself.
Yeah.
You having to maybe not start from square one, but simply start from square with a single digit, you know? And I was really lucky. My first year here, I had 3 TV shows back in the UK. 3 seasons of the same TV show that I was working on.
Anything I'd know?
It was an awful thing. It was it was a dreadful thing. But it was. Do you know what? It was called. I can't remember the name of the program. It was like another singing competition show.
Okay.
So me and my writing partner.
Was it Fame Academy?
London, it was one of. I did the original Fame Academy actually.
Right.
Because this is kind of what I've always done when I've not been touring. I've always written and I've always done little things here and there, but I've never really. It's never been my number one priority.
Right, gotcha.
That was what moving to LA became about for me, really, an opportunity to do that. But that first year was great. I had those 3 TV shows. It was called. Nope, it's gone. It'll come to me later.
That's all right.
But it's, you know, it's a really interesting part of the brain that you use because you're working on a deadline and you have to recreate a track, a 1 minute 30 version of a track. You've got to get straight to the chorus, no instrumental breaks in it. There's, you know, a singing competition show. So
that's really good to get your chops up, isn't it?
It's really good. And what's fantastic is that you'll, as a session musician, if you're going out on tour and you're touring with an artist, they will send you their songs, you learn their songs, and off you go. And you use that same part of your brain where you're dissecting the song from hi-hats down, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. The thing that makes us hate listening to music.
Yeah, completely. The thing, yeah, exactly.
That's my one is always, I'm sitting there, I'm having a conversation with my wife whilst also going, Fender Jazz or Fender P? Fender Jazz, I think that's Fender Jazz.
I know it, exactly. I know it so well. So yeah.
Oh, thank you, man. Thanks, good to meet you, man. Good to see you. Yeah, I've always wanted to have a mug that says, I took two of the greatest loves of my life, music and film, and turned them into a fucking job.
It's true, isn't it?
Because you don't enjoy it as like you used to.
It's really true. That thing
to switch the analysis
swell
off.
of everything when you're a teenager, that you love music so much, it gets obfuscated.
Yeah,
over the
absolutely.
years once it becomes your job. So that particular TV show was dissecting all. What was actually really interesting as well was, because you're having to recreate these tracks, you'll go in and you'll start looking at what amps were used, because there's a wealth of information on the internet now, obviously.
Yeah.
So you can find out how these tracks were recorded, and you can find stems you can listen to. Oh my God, that's what the drummer was doing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it was a brilliant half of the brain to use, and I really did enjoy it as much as it was a little bit soul sapping after a while.
But I think it also ties into something that I always say to people, whether it's they're writing pop tunes or you know, instrumental music is just to finish stuff and move on to the.
It's really true.
That thing, certainly when I first started getting into the idea of creating a sample library, is there was quite a big library that was available, and I couldn't make it sound good.
Yeah.
But it was clear that some people could make it sound really good.
For sure.
And I got in touch, reached out to them, and I said, listen, I'm missing a trick here.
Yeah.
You know, that 3-minute piece that you made there sounds amazing. They went, yeah, I know, and it only took me 3 months. And it's like, you see, no,
right,
I don't have that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the trap that a lot of people fall into is paralysis of analysis and just overdoing things. And I think actually moving through, doing stuff at speed is really important, and accepting that you're going to get better.
Of course.
Not you're going to make that track better. It's extraordinary how the light just changes.
It's insane, isn't it? It just suddenly walked into midnight. Thank you. Brilliant. You got my good side. Yeah, that's why deadlines are quite brilliant as well.
Oh yeah.
Because then you can't pontificate on this. You've got to get it done.
Yeah, no. Well, this is something that the gang at Spitfire have to understand about Paul and I. They want something off us, and it's like you have to deadline it.
Yeah.
Because we just won't do it unless it's deadline, and we'll put it off till the last minute.
Yeah, you can still do it. Yeah, still leave it with half an hour to go.
Thanks for the light, man.
You got it.
So, what are you filming?
Just an adventure today.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, that's great.
Have you got a channel or anything, or?
I started one, recently.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
What's it called? Share, please.
Santiago Valencia Music, real original.
Santiago Valencia Music.
Yes.
On YouTube.
On YouTube, yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
And what's the kind of content?
Learning the whole thing here.
Oh, it's good, but it's great. It's such a fascinating.
It is.
I mean, for me, I'm really aware of the erosion of music education in secondary school education. Certainly state school education in USA, UK, and Europe. And I do think that YouTube is a fascinating alternative for people.
Absolutely.
The other thing that I just am really shocked by is that people are going to colleges to learn how to be a media composer,
right,
and then they've got 50 grand's worth of debt to service when they come out of it in a job that will not service debt.
Right. And that's my thing with my kids. Like 10 years ago, I was a proponent for having them go to college. But in the last 10, 15 years, the world has really kind of changed to where there's a limited amount of things that you have to go to college for. And I hate to say it, but there's probably a majority that you don't necessarily have to do that anymore.
No.
The media composing would be definitely one of those things. You know, I went to Berklee College of Music in around 2000.
It's cheap that place, isn't it?
It was very cheap. Yeah, very cheap. I just wrote a check. It was easy. But yeah, and it's just a completely different world today than it was in 2000. So yeah, absolutely.
I think my tip would be I would be very wary about technology courses because of the the cost of keeping facilities up to date.
Right.
And it's very fickle, you know.
And it goes so fast.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like suddenly part of people's workflow is, you know, Ableton Live, and suddenly they've got to find 60, you know. Well, actually, I know that Ableton are brilliant with education and stuff like that, but I do think it's an interesting conversation. I do, however, think that I was just saying to you that I think that the networking possibilities of going to college, I think, are important. That you have a network.
There's no substitute for that.
No.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
completely.
Great stuff.
There's a lot to be said for not feeling like you're alone when you're making music, because especially when you're a composer, it's such a solitary pursuit
music
in lots
is
of
about
ways.
people coming together, which is why I get very frustrated about all of these lawsuits that are going on at the moment. It's just like we're all kind of going to war with each other. It should about. I don't know. Monetizing influence strikes me as a dangerous game.
Yeah.
Look at this. Yeah, hi.
I'm Scott, by the way.
Pleased to meet you, Scott.
Not that you'd remember, but met you at NAMM this year. This is my producing partner, Ben.
Hey, how you doing, man? It's good to meet you.
Thanks for doing this. So, you've posted a couple videos of your work in Japan, and I was just curious to hear, you know, what was a little bit more about your impression of the culture there. I lived there for 8.5 years, and I have to confess, when you first started your channel, I just returned from a trip with my wife to Edinburgh, so I watched it partly for nostalgic reasons, and then I went, oh, this is really good stuff, and I've been trying to turn on some of my students at a university I teach at to your material because I found it so helpful.
Oh, thank you.
But so circling back, I was just curious to know, you know, what was the first thing that hit you? Had you been to Tokyo before doing work?
I mean, culturally, obviously, it's a very, very different place.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting. There's some. I think the restrictions they have in Japan are based on infrastructure and the cost of land, from what I can gather. So their ability to have a place to record musicians is very stark. So they very much pursue an electronic or samples route, and as a consequence, Spitfire's become very successful there because our sole kind of MO is to make our jobs more fun, and so you don't have to work as hard to make things that aren't real sound acceptable, really. And I think that you know, it's clear to me, speaking to, you know, big and small composers in Japan, that even though they are part of a culture that doesn't use orchestras so often, the desire is absolutely there. And I think that that's the misunderstood thing about samples is I've never met a composer who doesn't want to work with a live musician if they had the opportunity. So as a consequence, the Japanese composers that I met, they're all when they get to do work with orchestras, it's always Abbey Road, always Air Studios. And I think that there's possibly a little bit that Spitfire's had to do with that as well, promoting musicians. But that's the main difference. The other thing that they can complain about is that our demos aren't melodic enough, and that's what I noticed culturally. You know, they'd play these like really hybrid kind of for their cartoons and stuff, manga stuff, like really massive power chords, ostinato orchestras, but with a really fruity top line on the top.
So I just learned the songs, you know, and I knew a lot of them.
But it certainly strikes me as an interesting scene, and their heroes are the computer games composers.
What they didn't tell
what I
me
could see.
was where the location.
So glad that we've got this light, because this video would be really quite crap.
It's a hero.
It's amazing how quickly the light disappears. So what kind of stuff are you guys doing?
Well, I mean, for the working composer, the answer is yes to genres that we write, and sometimes it's with a day's notice. But what I feel very fortunate, and you've probably seen this, I feel like a lot of composers, myself included, who are a little bit younger, more on the front end of their career, you get bombarded by advice to learn how to do everything yourself. There's a lot of DIY, and I think that's really valuable. But I can tell you, so I was introduced to Ben, who primarily does production and mixing, and that has become a much more fruitful collaboration because, as you know, composing's reclusive, and to be able to actually have a community come together and to be creative felt like a healthier direction and more, even just personally satisfied. I like Ben. We're friends. We hang out when we're not making music.
Well, I was talking to John Paisano, and he told me that actually quite a lot of producers and directors on these very big projects want to see that you're part of a team. Okay, you're going to be head of department, the responsibility is yours, but what happens if you get sick for a week? Well, I've got lots of assistants. Whereas that was kind of something you used to hide in the past. I think that's the direction that people are going in. And certainly, my brother he's a very successful computer games composer. The sheer volume of music because it's still streaming off some kind of device, the sheer volume of music is just staggering. And so it has to be a collaborative process. And this is what I find interesting about I don't want to pitch it to you, but this is what has excited me about the BBC SO thing, is the idea that I could just go, listen, have you got that? If you've got that, then we can just work together. I would probably use some other libraries usually, but I'll just stick to this for this, because there's going to be an orchestra at the end of it.
You started playing that demo, our jazz. We were both tuned in from California. It was just like, you cannot be serious.
He's San Diego, I'm LA, and we were like texting. We didn't really coordinate our viewing of the announcement, the drop. We didn't coordinate that at all, but as soon as we both independently saw it, we were like bloop, 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 bloop. Yeah, texting back and forth.
So
amazing
hats off. I'm sorry to interrupt. Just that we're happy to say that's an amazing product. Don't have it yet, but already it's on the want list.
That's great. Thank you, man.
How's your arm doing?
What's that?
How's your arm doing?
My arm's hurting. Wow. I'm going to feel it tomorrow.
That's impressive.
Really impressive. Which way, Miriam?
We're parked to the left.
So we're jumping in the car?
Yeah.
Okay. So see you there. See you there. Thanks for the light, guys.
I'm Santiago.
Santiago,
It's
man.
an absolute pleasure to meet you, man.
And you,
it
man.
Really is.
Thank you. Sorry about the wet back.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Excellent.
The address. Okay. So the Dresden. If I had service.
Yeah, it's bad.
Dalton, off Vermont.
Yeah. What's the name of the?
So Dresden's off Vermont.
1760 North Vermont Avenue.
It's off Vermont. It's a 10-minute drive. There is valet in the back. It might run out. So the first people who get there are going to get valet. If not, you're going to have to around the neighborhood.
There's street parking around the neighborhood.
Also, you should move your car because I think they're going to close the gates.
So
don't leave your car here and ever move it.
Yeah.
See you there.
See you there.
So, success, Miriam?
I would say so.
Such a lovely group of people.
A sweaty group.
Yeah. There's some really, I don't know if I think I had the second to reddest face at the top. But it's awesome. Such a lovely turnout. And it's just great to see so many people talking to each other and stuff, amazing.
Yeah, everyone was very grateful to have the opportunity to be outside, you know, because all these guys are just hanging out in their studios. So it was, I'm getting outside for the day.
Excellent. And we had a good group photo.
Oh yeah, great group photo.
Which you said was?
Beautiful sunset.
What did you say it was?
Clutch.
It was really clutch.
Clutch photos coming your way.
Thanks, Dalton.
Thanks, Dalton.